if I could go back in time just 1 week and tell myself from last week that, hey, the Mueller report's going to come out Friday and the next big profile person to be arrested is going to be Michael Avenatti, I would have been very confused. But that is exactly what happened. And I know Avenatti was not mentioned in the Mueller report. I just think it's a fun bit of irony to point out. But yes, Michael Avenatti, the big-time resistance grifter, was arrested on Monday of this week. And then after he was arrested, he was hit with even more charges from California. Here's what happened. Avenatti claimed that he had some big breaking news that was going to reach all the way to the highest levels of Nike, and he was going to tell us that news on Tuesday. Well, the reason he told us before he was arrested that he was going to tell us on Tuesday is because a couple weeks ago, actually a couple days ago, he and one of his unnamed co-conspirators called up Nike, they met with them, and they said, look, we've got our client here, and we don't want this news to make it out to the public, so why don't you just pay us $15 to $25 million, and part of that money is going to be used to, quote, buy Avenatti's silence, according to the filings. Avenatti tried to extort money from Nike's lawyers, or else he was going to go and run his mouth if they didn't give in to his demands. The next day after that meeting, which that meeting took place on March 19th, Avenatti had a phone call with Nike's lawyers, and he said, I'll go take $10 billion off your client's market cap. I'm not fucking around. This guy's nuts. Like, this guy's big time nuts. And it gets so much worse too, because then, again, after he was arrested in New York for the Nike thing, state of California says, well, hold up, we got to bust this guy on embezzling a client's money and tax and wire fraud. Michael Avenatti, the guy who 6 months ago, you actually had a lot of Democrats clamoring, saying, please run for president, please run for president, we like you, is now going to be headed to jail because he's a complete fraud. Now, I will fully admit and take responsibility for the fact that in the past I had defended Michael Avenatti's record as an attorney. Michael Avenatti, as a trial lawyer, had done some good things. But then he got a little taste of fame. And that fame came when he decided to represent Stormy Daniels, Stephanie Clifford, in her case against Donald Trump. And suddenly the cameras were in his face. And he fell in love. He fell in love with the cameras, and he fell in love with fame, and he fell in love with himself. And that was the moment he stopped being a trial lawyer and started to become a grifter. He used his newfound fame to go on Twitter and trash Donald Trump and gain hundreds of thousands of followers every single month. This guy was everywhere. And then the Kavanaugh hearings happened. During the Kavanaugh hearings, we had several very credible women come forward saying that he had sexually assaulted them. And then came Michael Avenatti with an unnamed woman who said that, oh, what my client went through at the hands of Brett Kavanaugh is so much worse than what all these other women went through. And I'm Michael Avenatti, and I'm great, and this woman has a problem that she needs to talk about too. But I'm Michael Avenatti. Turns out it was fraud. It was fake. Didn't happen. And his move, when we had Kavanaugh on the ropes, and it comes out that this woman, Michael Avenatti, trotted out was a fraud, because Michael Avenatti is a fraud, that killed it. Michael Avenatti is responsible for Brett Kavanaugh sitting on that Supreme Court. And as punishment for that, I can't think of anything better than Michael Avenatti spending the next few years sitting in a jail cell thinking about how much damage he caused to this country in just his 1 year of national fame. Thanks for watching, everybody. And don't forget, if you like what you see here, like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. And now you can also become a member of Ring of Fire and get exclusive early access to certain Ring of Fire videos all throughout the week. Just click on the little join button right below the video.